That's exactly right, Karen. I've begun to lose count of all the parties. Needless to say, there were multiple between 2020 and 2021. Talks of a wine fridge inside 10 Downing Street. Now, in terms of that culture change that Dowden was talking about there, it's something we're hearing a lot about. And there was lines over the weekend saying that Johnson reports that he's calling it Operation, quote, Save Big Dog. And there is talk that, in fact, he will use some of his staff. There might be a cabinet reshuffle. Some were saying the word scapegoat in terms of making sure that he does survive as leader. Now, in terms of how that's going to happen, so far reports that maybe there are around 35 out of the 54 letters needed to trigger a leadership contest within the 1922 committee. That's basically a technicality which will allow this leadership fight within the Conservative Party before the next general election, which is scheduled for May 2024. Now, the runners in that race, we know Rishi Sunak, Chancellor, Liz Truss, Foreign Secretary, another couple throwing their hats into the ring, but nobody formally yet, just reports of potential ideas for candidates. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson, as you heard there, Dowden, the Conservative Party chairman, saying he's not going to resign currently. Now, of course, we heard from the opposition leader over the weekend, Keir Starmer. This is what he had to say about, quote, industrial level partying.
Well, we've now got to a situation where you've got a Prime Minister who has lost the moral authority to lead. And just when you need, because we're not out of the pandemic, a government that has that moral authority to lead, we've lost it with this Prime Minister. And I don't just mean the fact that he now admits that he was at parties in Downing Street. I mean that what he said along the way. When I first challenged the Prime Minister in relation to these allegations back in December, he stood at the dispatch box and said, "I've been assured there were no parties." So his first defence was there weren't any.
Now, the reason here that Partygate has been such a scandal, and one that could be the career-defining one for PM Boris Johnson, is it's an easy idea, if you will, for the public to wrap their hands around. Easier than, for example, a tax credit idea or potentially even something to do with the NHS. This is something that is emotional for many people who were in lockdown at the time that these parties were happening. So, of course, it is something that is easily harnessed by the opposition and by members within the party, and something that the PM has had to come and apologise for, not only to the country but also to the Queen, as Karen mentioned there. Now, in terms of next steps, the Sue Gray report, that's what you want to keep in mind. Sue Gray is a senior civil servant. She's been tasked with investigating this. However, she does report essentially to the government, to some saying that her findings could be compromised. It's a complicated idea, but it's the report that we've got to rely on at the moment. We're expecting it to come out within the next fortnight, could be towards the end of this week. Now, the Met Police have also been tasked, people saying, why aren't you investigating this? Just like, members of the public have been, put forward to the courts for breaching lockdown. The Met Police are saying they're waiting for the findings of the Sue Gray report. Now, Boris Johnson, you might not see him in public until about Wednesday. He's currently in isolation, a close contact of COVID. So he's fast asleep in 10 Downing Street right now, probably hard at work, guys.
Rosanna, let me jump in here, because there is the other scenario, of course, that the party decides that he has to go even before we get Sue Gray's report. And we saw Tim Loughton over the weekend, the former children's minister, also, I think, join a very small group, about half a dozen MPs, who've effectively stepped out of the shadow and said, "You're done. It's time to leave, Mr. Prime Minister." But as we know, the arithmetic at the moment is just not there. 54, I think, is the number of MPs needed to trigger a leadership competition with the 1922 committee. You getting any sense that that momentum is building here, that we can get from 6 to 54, or does it just not happen before the Sue Gray report?
I think what the key difference here, Jeff, is those that are publicly speaking and calling for his resignation, which is so far, I think, around 6 senior Conservative MPs or members of the party that have publicly called for the PM to resign. And then what's secretly going on behind the scenes, which are these letters towards the 1922 committee, reports so far, but it's unconfirmed, that it could be around 35 gathered so far of the 54. So that's quite a serious amount of momentum, but it's also a closely guarded secret. So there's a lot of Westminster whisperings. Karen?
Got to keep the whispering up. Don't wake up the Prime Minister. Thank you very much for that, Rosanna. We'll come out to you later.